What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here. Now, what if I told you Bitcoin mining was moving away from all the large scale farms worldwide and moving back to where it should be, decentralized and to the home miners? I know what you're probably thinking, though. Rabid.
No way.
So, why is this happening? The biggest thing is AI. A lot of these mining farms are moving away from Bitcoin mining for AI. Are you looking for ASIC miners but just not sure who to trust? From most popular brands to best sellers to miners of the week and even deals of the moment, ASIC Mining Central has you covered to the cheapest prices out of any ASIC website, as well as import fees will be low with low tax with DDP or invoice, and code RABID will grant you an additional $50 off your order. Head on over to ASIC Mining Central today for all your ASIC mining needs. Links down in the description. Now back to our regular scheduled program. So we talk about this for years and years on end. As a crypto miner, you should mine the most profitable and then just buy or whatever you want to do with the coin you believe in and so on. So when it comes to these mining farms, AI is a heck of a lot more profitable than mining Bitcoin. On top of that, Bitcoin mining is losing thousands of dollars for all these USA and North American based mining farms. It's pretty crazy. Just look at the headlines. Here we have America's biggest Bitcoin miners are pivoting to AI. Over here, we can see end of Bitcoin hodl, public miners going all in on AI, signaling more BTC selling. Here we have Bitcoin hash rate falls as miners shift focus to AI growth. Here we have Bitcoin miners shift from crypto to AI data centers. Pretty much everywhere we look, everything is showing you that Bitcoin miners are moving away from Bitcoin and moving into the AI infrastructure. It's pretty crazy on all this. Now let's take a look at some of the major ones that a lot of you guys know about. Marathon Digital, for example. Marathon Digital pivots mining sites to AI infrastructure. Marathon is leaving Bitcoin as well. Here we have Hut 8. Hut 8 is doing the same thing. Hut 8 is leaning into Lego block model to switch between AI and something there, some crypto, but they're repositioning from Bitcoin mining to AI infrastructure. All of these major farms are turning away from Bitcoin for AI. If you caught one of my live streams in the past with Yeti, we could look at one of those B300s or something, those racks, which are around $4 million and 70 some, and they're using a megawatt of power per server rack, and they actually ROI in just over a year. Imagine ROI in a couple $1 million in just over a year. That's pretty insane. These AI things are in such high demand. We have the markets just totally oblivious. We know hard drive prices are up. We have RAM prices are up. Everything is going straight to this AI demand, and the bubble is massive right now. Now, if it ever does pop, things are going to be pretty hectic out there. But right now, everything is geared towards AI. So let's take a look at a couple things. One of them is the Bitcoin network hash rate. Let's just see where we really started to climb on Bitcoin. And it looks like, obviously since right here in 2021, we can see where it really did start exploding. But right around in this area, early 2022 or so is when we really started to explode in the Bitcoin hash rate. We were sitting around 200 exahash, and obviously the whole entire Bitcoin market went 5x in terms of hash rate, which means obviously a lot more farms are coming online. Other farms are expanding. Bitmain releasing new, more powerful, more efficient miners. All of this has an effect here. Now, if you're an Ethereum miner from way back then, you kind of have an idea how this works out. All these mining farms are kind of difficulty in themselves out of a job and out of profitabilities. You remember back when LHR was removed from all the LHR GPUs back in the day, the network hash rate pretty much went 10% higher overnight from that drop of the LHR. So that was pretty insane there, which means everyone actually started, even though you gained more hash rate, the entire network went up, you started earning less Ethereum because of it. So everyone's running to get, so this part right here we can see is all these farms are rushing to get as much hash as they possibly can. Then we get to this point and it's no longer profitable. Yes, we have our normal crypto cycles and everything. Cryptos and Bitcoin is starting to go down and stuff, but here we can see the race for hash, and this is literally putting them out of the job and into the negative. So we can see from 200 exahash to over 1.1 zettahash. That's a slight bit over 5x in network hash rate. Now, in order to make this profitability still remain extremely well, we need at least a 5x in price. Let's take a look at what the price actually did. So coming into around the early 2022 here, we can see Bitcoin was around 22, 24, whatever, $1,000. So in theory, the network hash rate 5x, so we need at least a 5x in hash rate, which we did get. We got just about a 6x coming into 124,000. But a major thing you got to remember is the halving event. So not only does the price of Bitcoin have to do the same thing as the hash rate as, 5x, we've seen it do a 6x in price. We also need to go from there and then do a double, which means this should put Bitcoin at around the $250,000 mark to maintain those same type of profitabilities. And guess what? We only seen half of that. It didn't do that double in price. The price did follow the network hash rate as well as the hash rate following the price of Bitcoin, but we didn't get that doubling from the halving of the block rewards in the price. So now we can see what's happening here. Now all the miners are losing money. Now, if you remember, what was it? I think it was just before, it was sometime in 2024 or something. I remember Son of a Tech, he went to a meeting. I can't remember which one of it was, the Bitcoin blockchain meeting. It was before, it was not the miner one. It was one to talk about the blockchains. I think it was Bitcoin something. Anyway, when that happened, he went in there and he was talking to a lot of the big guys like Mara and Hut 8, and all those CEOs were predicting, if you remember that, and I was talking about what Son of a Tech was telling us based on his stream, some of my streams, and all those guys were guessing a $200,000 to a $250,000 peak for Bitcoin. And we were just joking around saying, well, if they're guessing 2 to 250, we should all be selling around 190 to 195 so that we can get all those orders in before they dump the price. So they're predicting the same type of thing, following the hash rate and then a doubling, and that didn't happen. Bitcoin only hit 50% of all these big top CEOs' predictions. So obviously, we're seeing a major step down in Bitcoin. Now the explosion of AI comes in, and now all these mining farms are transitioning over. Now remember, we're going to have another halving event kick in, and we're probably going to see, most likely we could see hash rate pick up, but hopefully with all these mining farms moving away, we should see this start to drop a fair bit. So now let's take a look at the difficulty, and this determines, how hard it is to find a block and how fast the blockchain moves for Bitcoin depending on the amount of hash rate. So here's that 2021 spot, and here's where ultimately all the hash rate started ramping up. The race to zero, as a lot of miners like to call it. As hash rate picks up, it doesn't mean the price is going to go up. As we see with Bitcoin, that whole power law thing didn't really play out, as now we're seeing everybody losing money, including mining farms that are only paying like 5-cent power. So it's not working on their favor, but we can see a consistent increase in network hash rate, which is to be expected when it comes to increasing hash rate on the network. But look at this. We're starting to see some of the largest drops in difficulty that Bitcoin has ever seen. Now, I believe this one back here was when they had that ice storm and stuff, and a lot of power companies needed farms to shut down, or there wasn't power and things like that. But because of farms shutting down, we're seeing this one right here. Now, I do think it's going to take a good year or two for transitions, because remember, these people got to buy all the hardware, all these specialized GPUs and racks and everything, and then they got to decommission Bitcoin miners and then put all these other things online. So it's going to take a while for them to go through that process. But hopefully, long term, we could actually finally start to see the difficulty drop as well as the network hash rate and stuff, and then have Bitcoin move back into the home miner space. Now, maybe it still won't be for the exact home miners, but we could still get pretty cheap power prices from places like metered mining as well as terahashes. So using other hosting sites, which offer, anywhere from 7 to 8 to 9 cent power. That's still pretty cheap power here for allow us as home miners to become full-fledged Bitcoin miners. And that's a pretty big deal in terms of decentralization, the markets for just home miners in general feeling like they're actually doing work again. And this is just really, really good, I feel, for the Bitcoin network in general, because then it starts to become less centralized, not from a few large scale mining farms. It's going in between a lot more miners at that place. And that's where decentralization truly comes into play. All right, guys, so that pretty much does wrap up this video, but I am so curious right now. What do you guys think between the whole AI struggle and all these major mining farms moving over to AI? Because obviously it is making a lot more money than Bitcoin mining is. And long term, if enough move over, this could make it viable for us as home miners to start mining Bitcoin again. But we also got to keep in mind the price of Bitcoin as well as future halving events. Because remember, we're at 3.12 right now. The next halving event is only going to be a block reward of like 1.6 or 1.7. So the block reward is getting very, very low. And, just got to keep that in mind as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next cycle plays out. The bottom of Bitcoin, I still believe, is coming sometime October of this year, 2026, around anywhere between that 35 to 50K. So we still have a pretty big bottom coming. But after that, we should start climbing up again, leading into that next bull market set to peak around 2029. Thank you for watching this video, guys. Are you going to be looking into Bitcoin miner as more large farms pull off the network? Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you on the next one. Hit that subscribe button. Rabid out.